Welcome back to Deep Talk. Welcome back. We are going to talk some more with His Excellency, Ambassador of Indonesia to Thailand. Ambassador, you we met earlier and we have been talking, about your careers. Could you tell us a little bit more, your career in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs before you coming here as ambassador?
I joined Foreign Ministry actually immediately after I graduated from State University in the South Sulawesi eastern part of Indonesia. That was back in 1986. And then at that time, we have to attend several courses, we have to attend several trainings, including diplomatic course in Foreign Ministry. And then after that, of course, we were moving to a different section of Foreign Ministry, a kind of doing a practical works. And it's quite amazing. The first overseas trip I have ever made during that times, in fact, to Thailand, to Bangkok. And more specifically, it's quite surprising to have it now, is that I stay in this embassy. We have a guest house, and then at that time we never realized that, almost 30 years later, I'll be ambassador in this great kingdom of Thailand. So this is something, I don't know where the coincidence, but this is the fact.
Destiny.
Yes, destiny. And then, of course, I serve my countries, of course, in different places. I was in New Zealand about 7 years because I pursue my higher education also in New Zealand, and then directly assigned as a diplomat there, doing my works, and after that, moved back to the capitals, and then went back to down under, in Australia almost 5 years, and then, up again, and then all of a sudden, after that, about 2 years, I was, assigned to Slovak Republic, where you also understand, you're also ambassador there.
That's right.
At that time.
Absolutely.
But of course, being a humble civil servant, whenever we asked to do the assignments, we just do our best. And then I was in Slovakia only 1.5 years. I was recalled back for another promotions, to pick up even greater challenging jobs as Director General for Protocol and Consular Affairs, and also at the same time as a Chief of State Protocol of the Republic of Indonesia.
Okay.
Very challenging, and I've been there around 4 years. During that period, of course, I have opportunity, I have an honor to prepare the visit of the leaders of Thailand, the prime ministers. The latest one, I think, we prepared the visit of Prime Minister Yingluck, and beforehand, of course, the prime minister's visit also. And then I'm so fortunate. I'm honored to serve my country, to the kingdoms, the country that we have very long history of relations back even in the 12th centuries ago, during the Sriwijaya kingdoms. And then, as I say, it is honor, because, that's where I can contribute to each of endeavors. As I mentioned before, in our efforts to deepening, to strengthening, to increasing bilateral relations between the two countries in every fields, in many fields, economic fields, education, people-to-people contact, of course, cultures, media, and so on and so forth, political security. I mean, just to name a few. So we are, of course, very proud of having the relation between the two countries that moving in a very stronger and even more solid relations in the recent years. And then, of course, our challenge is how to sustain it how to sustain it, how to maintain it, even to create further success story, to create further progress in this, how to call it, relation. So once again, as a professional and career diplomat, I'm grateful, I'm honored to be here, to play my roles, to contribute to this endeavor for the mutual benefit of our two countries.
ท่านผู้ชมครับวันนี้นี่ทางดิฟทอล์กเนี่ยครับพาท่านผู้ชมนี่มาเยี่ยมชมสถานทูตอินโดนีเซียประเทศไทยแล้วเราได้มีโอกาสมาพบพระเอกอัครราชทูตราอุฟแล้วก็ของอินโดนีเซียนะครับที่ท่านกรุณามาสนทนากับเราวันนี้นะครับท่านทูตเนี่ยท่านก็เป็นนักการทูตอาชีพที่อินโดนีเซียและผ่านหลายตำแหน่งมานะครับทั้งข้างในข้างนอกแล้วมีหน้าที่การงานที่มีความสำคัญยิ่งยวดแล้วท่านมาที่กรุงเทพคราวนี้นะฮะเอกทูตนี่นะครับท่านก็พยายามที่จะส่งเสริมความสัมพันธ์ทุกๆด้านทั้งด้านการเมืองด้านเศรษฐกิจด้านทัวริซึมด้านอะไรต่างๆนานานะครับซึ่งก็เป็นหน้าที่ของท่านทูตทีนี้สถานทูตแห่งนี้นะฮะที่บ้านพักท่านเนี่ยสวยงามมากนะครับแล้วมีประวัติศาสตร์ยาวนานซึ่งผมอาจจะเรียนถามท่านว่ามันเป็นอย่างไรที่มาตั้งถนนเพชรบุรีนะฮะซึ่งสวยงามมากนะครับท่านทูตของเราเนี่ยนะฮะท่านก็ได้มาอยู่ที่นี่เนี่ยมาพอสมควรแล้วนะท่านทูตลูฟี่ราอุสAmbassador Luffy Rauf you have been here for some time and I think you mentioned about the historical values the history behind the establishment of your embassy here in Bangkok after our establishment of diplomatic relation right soon after the independence of Indonesia. Could you elaborate a little bit a very historical place here?
You see, as I say, politically, the presence of Indonesians representative in Thailand went back in 1947. Only 2 years after we proclaimed our independence. And then at that time, the Kingdom of Thailand already hosts us by opening our representative office where our peoples who still experience a kind of strugglings just from to obtain our independence. That's what we call it at that time, Indonesian Representative Office. And then that's in 1947, and then up to 49 when we, the colonial government at that times fully transferred the sovereignty to young republics back in 1949. And then since then we upgrade into the embassy. As I mentioned before, we used to stay in Silom. 47 to 49, we moved twice in the Silom, different places. But in 1952, from Silom, we moved to here, where we purchased this property exactly on the 7th February in 1952. As I already mentioned before, that our representative office is one of the earliest. They were established all over the world. Thailand is one of the early ones. And then that's why, as I say, of course, it has historic values. Because it's the one who recognized, the kingdom is one early recognizing the newly born republics. And then kindly hosting us as a representative office. And then finally we have this building. So to speak, it has been here more than 60 years.
60 years.
This is a testimony. This is a proof that the relation between the two countries has been, even politically, has been long. And then if we even look at back far away now, centuries ago. So what does it mean to us? We have very strong basis. We have a very strong foundations in our relations. It is therefore our challenge is how to develop, how to increase, improve, and sustain this kind of strong relation in the time ahead. Of course, another testimony is that Indonesia and Thailand always share the common perspective of certain issues. Beside bilateral, of course, there's no question about it. We're very strong. On bilateral, even global issues. Look at before ASEAN was born. Indonesia and Thailand closely working together. And then Indonesia and ASEAN is a founding members of ASEAN back in 1967. Here in Bangkok, when we declared Bangkok Declarations, marking the bond of ASEAN. So again, if you're looking at from the historical perspective, we have a long existing historical relations and then continue to foster until today. And then we want to see even more progress, more, much deeper relation the time. Of course, for the benefit, for the mutual benefit of our two countries, that's going to be also benefit for the peoples from times to times.
ท่านผู้ชมครับท่านทูตรุตฟีราอูสนี่ก็ได้บอกว่าเนี่ยความสัมพันธ์ทางการเมืองนะครับเริ่มต้นมานานนะฮะตั้งแต่สมัยที่อินโดนีเซียยังไม่ได้รับเอกราชเลยนะฮะก็มี representative office เนี่ยประเทศไทยก็กรุณาให้มีหลังจากได้รับเอกราชแล้วนะครับก็ได้ตั้งขยับฐานะขึ้นเป็นสถานเอกอัครทูตแล้วก็มาตั้งที่พื้นที่สวยงามเนี่ยที่เพชรบุรีเนี่ยในคศ1952ก็60 ปีกว่าแล้วนะครับที่ความสัมพันธ์ทางการเมืองมาเนี่ยได้มาก็เป็นการแสดงเห็นความร่วมมือความใกล้ชิดที่ยาวนานมากในทางด้านการเมืองหรือทางด้านอาเซียนเองก็ดีต่างๆนานาเนี่ยก็มีความสำคัญที่ลึกซึ้งได้ร่วมมือกันมาตลอดนะครับในเรื่องการเมืองต่างๆนะครับ Ambassadors, we have a very long history. You have been here, and I know that you love cooking also. Perhaps come back here. And how do you see, our share tradition in food, Thai food, Indonesian food, and just on the personal thing a little bit, what sort of food do you like to cook?
If you're talking about food, and you are staying in Thailand, this is one of the heaven for those who love eating. That's why, because also this is one of the, the greatness of Thailand. Having different kinds of food, and very famous one. That's why Thailand, projected itself to become a kitchen of the world. Of course, if you're talking about Indonesian food, being in Asia, we share some commonalities about foods. Of course, Indonesia being a great country, so diverse, with the 17,000 islands, with the 3 different time zones, 240 million people with the 384 ethnicities. Of course, they have own typical foods from one place to another place. But as I say, being countries in the regions where the exchange of context between the people of two countries, of course, also bring this kind of cultural aspect of the two people, which is food. That's why if you see the commonalities, similarities, we found a lot of similarities. One of the, I remember when I was a kid, during the festivity, especially after the marking the end of Ramadan in the South Sulawesi, we used to have a kind of sticky rice with a mango.
The same.
This is a part of traditions in the eastern part of Indonesia, the island of Sulawesi. And of course, so many sticky rice, repa with banana, you name it. There are some similarities, of course. That's why when I've been here in Thailand, I try to sample, to taste, to enjoy Thai food as many as possible, as much as I can. Of course, one of my favorite, I like seafood, of course. more particular, of course, we like a fish, pla, what you call it, especially plachon and pladuk.
Yeah, Padu.
This is very good one.
Chart Padu.
And then, of course, you have here, many other kind of foods. Of course, how to call it, tom yam, yeah. Tom yam goong, tom yam pla, you have everything.
Okay.
Pad thai, huh?
Pad Thai.
Everything. And then especially, my favorite sauce, of course, is nampla.
Nampla.
Every time I went to the restaurant, I always order, can you give me nampla, please? Because it
Add
is
some
very,
sauce.
and of course, as I say, it's very difficult to mention one by one about the food, Thai foods. But for me, it's time to enjoy. Even my cook here, Thai people, she has been working with me more than 40 years. And of course, they cook Indonesians. But if I have a guest from Indonesia, I ask them to cook a Thai food. So this is something about the food. Now, concerning about my hobby of cooking, of course, this is something that not many men can do, because in the past, because of the traditions, cooking is not the world of the man. It's not the man works. It is the world of ladies, it is the women's world, which is in our situation is no longer relevant because it's changing. I mean, this has become a hobby of many people, many men like me. It didn't happen overnight. Probably because, when we were students overseas, far away from family, there is no way to rely on somebody else, but we have to rely on ourselves. Especially if we have a limited budget, of course, you cannot go to restaurant every day. So you have to prepare yourself to be creative. That's what exactly happened. And then I happened to be doing my study overseas, and then, of course, prepare our food by ourselves by using any kind of materials, in a very efficient way. That's what we try to kind of doing some practices, testing about the different kind of how to call it, recipes, and so on and so forth. So, and from that perspective, I feel it that cooking is something art. You can feel it. Because if you're talking about cooking, not just for the matter of filling your stomach, especially Asia, because Asian people have a kind of, how to call it, very high, how to call it, sense of, taste.
Okay.
This is a part of our inner, how to call it, inner wish, inner feeling. That, of course, we want to enjoy, we want to have a full stomach, but we need to taste as much as possible. So it's a kind of art. But unfortunately, to be honest, since I arrived here, because I'm moving around, so many activities, I don't have enough opportunity to practice, to do only occasionally. I went down to the kitchens, I opened up, the fridge was available, and I did my own shopping, especially for fresh seafood or fresh fish. I went normally to